earth tag there. Bloody hell. That took some getting off. So as we can see from that, it took a bit of coming off, did that. Is the Worcester Bosch Greenstar 1000 the best budget boiler? My name's Hart, and in today's video we're going to find out. So we're going to strip this boiler down, we'll have a look inside, and we'll have a look at the components, and we'll do a full review, and you can see if you think that this is the best budget boiler. My name's Hart. One thing we'll notice with the Worcester Bosch 1000 boiler is no more jigs. So now we've got a bracket that we just put on the wall, and what we're going to do now, we're just going to install the boiler. The Worcester Bosch Greenstar 1000, it's a lightweight cupboard fit boiler. It measures 655mm high, and it's 395mm wide, and it's 285mm deep, so it'll fit in a standard cupboard. Also, it's available in a 24 kilowatt and a 30 kilowatt boiler. So now we'll take the cover off and we'll have a look inside. So I'll just remove the front display and we'll take a look inside the boiler. So the key thing in this new Worcester Bosch Greenstar 1000 is it's got a stainless steel heat exchanger. So that's something quite unique to Worcester. They've not done this before. So yeah, stainless steel heat exchanger. Expansion vessel, so the expansion vessel is at the front, the Schrader valve is at the front, so you can get and pump that up and service that if you needed to. It's a 6 litre expansion vessel, so on some installs you may need to put an additional expansion vessel in. We've got the auto air vent there at the front, so if you needed to, you can quickly and easily change and replace the auto air vent. We've got the pump on the front here. So it's a taco pump. Worcester Bosch have said that they're going to have a dual pump strategy in this boiler because of the problems we had with part shortages in the past with COVID and things like that. They're going to use Grundfos and they're going to use taco for pumps. We've also got a Honeywell Residio gas valve there. So the condensate trap's really easy to take out. Just take the rubber tube off there and that just clicks off. And you can just pull that out of the way. At the back here, we've got the plate heat exchanger. To take that out, it's just one screw. So really easy to work on. So for a service engineer, that part of it so far is a dream. We've then got on here, we've got a little valve here, which you can connect a hose underneath, and then you can use that as a drain to drain the boiler down. So that's a brief overview of the Worcester Bosch 1000. What do you think to it so far? Let's strip it down. So what we'll do now, we'll take the heat exchanger, take the burner out, and we'll have a look inside the heat exchanger. So we'll just take off all the connections on this. I've taken the earth straps off because they were a little bit awkward to get off. We've also got an overheat stat here, so I'll take these off as well. And then we'll just lose a few of these nuts in here. These are numbered as well on this. So if we have a look on it, we've got a number 1, we've got a number 2, number 3 and number 4. So when you're going to put these back together, you'd put them in that sequence. So if we just take this out now. So that's the burner. It's got a seal on there. Worcester Bosch have said, or the rep told me that this would be changed. You would need to change this every time you strip this boiler down. They would expect it to need doing every 5 years. But you will need to check with the installation instructions at the time because that might change over time. But that's the burner and the fan all out in one. And now let's have a look inside the heat exchanger. I'd just like to thank Heatable, who is our video sponsor today. If you do want a new boiler or solar panels, check out the link in the description below. You can see there, this heat exchanger, it's one continuous coil. So some boilers, they'll have a multi-pass heat exchanger. Now where that can be a problem, if it's installed on a dirty system, then if it blocks up, part of the coil can block. But this one, it's a single pass. So for flushing it, it'll be much better. And if it did get blocked up in the future, it should be a lot easier to clean out. So that to me looks really good. But again, put a comment below, let me know what you think. Do you prefer a single pass heat exchanger? Do you prefer a multi-pass? Do you prefer the boiler with an aluminium heat exchanger? Put a comment below, let me know. And now we'll take out the expansion vessel. So there's a big copper pipe on this, which is really good. I really like that. I've slackened this off already, a little bit of a blue Peter. Here's what we did earlier. We've just got a screw in here. Just undo that off. And then this should just slide out, I think. So that is a service engineer's dream, is that. Comes out really easy. As I've said already, it's a 6-litre expansion vessel. So it is a little bit small for some systems, and you may need to put an additional expansion vessel in. So another feature of this boiler, we've got an internal gutter here. So this is for any water, if it comes in down the air intake, it'll go into here. Rather than taking out the boiler or leaking inside the boiler, it'll go down into this gutter and it'll go down this tube here. And then this tube follows down and it goes into the back of the condensate pipe just there. And then what we'll do now, I'll just remove the condensate trap. So this on here, it's just got a rubber connection, comes off. This just clicks out, nice and easy. It's got a little hose on there as well. So you'd better take your condensate trap out and go clean that. That does look a little bit awkward to clean, if I'm honest, because you'll get muck into the bottom of there and you might have to jiggle it about. But time will tell. Put a comment below, let me know what you think to the condensate trap. If we have a look on this as well, we've got the PRV here, which is a lot easier than previous models. To remove this, it's a little bit tricky because the screw is on the nut is on the back here. And then we'll just pull this clip out here. And then we can take the PRV out, which is a little bit awkward with one hand on video. We've got a bit of water coming out there, but that just goes to show that the boilers are tested in the factory. One thing to point out on this PRV, for me, is plastic on the thread. So you're going to have to be careful when you tighten that nut back on afterwards, when you change PRV, because that could easily cross thread, could that. So on this, we've got a delta T pump, so it measures the flow and return temperatures, and it tries to make it so it stays at 20 degrees temperature differential. So we've got some thermistors on here. So these are just clip-on thermistors. So that's dry ones like this are better, because if you get the wet pocket ones, then obviously they can fur up over time. So we'll just pull these out of the way, and then what we're going to do, we'll have a look at the plate heat exchanger. So at the back here, we've got the plate heat exchanger, and as I said previously, we've just got one screw there. So we'll take that out. There might be some water in this. As I say, Worcester Bosch do test their boilers in the factory to make sure there's no leaks on them. So we'll just remove that screw on there. So as I say on there, one screw on there, still water coming out. And that's how easy it is to take your plate heat exchanger out. Nice and easy. So for a service engineer, that, to be honest, that's a dream, is that. With regards to controls for this, you can use the Worcester Bosch hardwired controls, or you can use any third-party controls as well. Something such as the Salas Smart Home might be good. That's actually what I've got in my own house, and I think that's really good. Also, the flue options with this. So when you come to do the flue, the screws that are in the top of the flue here, they are transit screws only. And in the pack, you need to make sure you don't lose the screws in the pack, but you've got the screws for the flue in the pack. So, as I say, make sure you don't lose them screws. What we'll do now, I'll put this back together. I'm not going to do that on camera. And we'll have a look at the pipework underneath. So if we look underneath the boiler, we've got the valves. The valves on these come straight down, which in most cases is probably going to be really good. You do need a spacer. So if you're using Talon clips, you use a standard clip and a spacer on there, and that'll go right straight into the valve going down. One point would be that if you're going to replace an existing boiler, with some boilers you have a bit of flexibility here. You're not going to have any flexibility with this. But put a comment below, let me know what you think about that. But as I say, you'd need a spacer on your clip with that one. So that's for your flow and your return and your hot and your cold. The gas, you would be able to adjust that a little bit there, because that'll move about. And then the condensate here, the condensate is a little bit further in, so I'm not sure what clip I would clip that. We might have to cut a clip, a spacer in half with that one. And then you've just got your PRV over here. So that's nice and easy to get onto. That's just, you might want to do that first. That's just on there. Just got a brass connection on that. A little bit like inside the boiler. So what I'll do now, put some pipe work on here and we'll talk about the components that you need to have underneath a boiler. Just going to install the filter on this. So a filter is a really important part of a boiler installation. First of all, we need to flush the system, make sure the system is clean, and then after that we will put a filter on. With the new Worcester Bosch Greenstar 1000 combi boiler, you can use any filter you want. So you don't have to use a Worcester Bosch filter like you did with some of the other models of boiler. So we're just going to put a filter on. One thing as well to point out with this, you do need to provide your own filling loop, so it doesn't have a built-in filling loop as well like some of the other range of boilers. Another thing we want to install really is a mini shock arrestor. So this stops any back pressure when the hot water gets hot, and sometimes they'll expand into the pipework. It can damage the inside of the boiler. So ideally we would install a mini shock arrestor. And this is if you've got a boiler with brass components or plastic components, we'd still want to put a mini shock in there really. Also, we'd want to fit a scale reducer. Depending on where you live, depending on what your water quality is like, we'd want to be installing a scale reducer. Put a comment below, let me know if you install scale reducers in your area. I've also added a deaerator into this. So this is just, all this does, just gets any micro bubbles out of the system, air bubbles, which will help stop corrosion. This is an optional extra. It is something that I install on my jobs. Do you install them on your jobs? Again, put a comment below and let me know what you think to them. What I'll do now, we'll move on to a full review. So I'll give you my overview of everything that we've covered in this video today. So that's the Worcester Bosch Greenstar 1000. What do we think to it? Well, it's a budget boiler. It's got a 5-year guarantee. It's range rateable. It's a cupboard fit boiler. So what do we think to it? So my opinion, I think it's a good boiler. I think it's going to change the market quite a lot for the lower end of the market. But please put a comment below. Let me know what your opinion is. And if you do have any questions, again, put some comments below here. The comments below are the best thing we can do, because then other people can see them comments and they can see other people's opinions as well. And that's it. If you do like the format of this video today, then please put a thumbs up to that, put a comment there, and we'll try and do more of this. And I'd just like to thank everybody for watching, and if you can subscribe, follow, like, share, all that good stuff, I really appreciate it. And we'll see you in the next video. The condensate trap is just at the front here, which is nice and easy to take out. We can just take the rubber tube off there. Oop. So the condensate trap's really easy to take out.